Now, as you guys know, I have been the subject of many videos in the past several years. People do not like Ethan. Ethan is a hypocrite. He is greedy. He stopped making H3 videos because he is lazy. And he only wants to make money on the podcast.
To make money.
Money, money, money. I love money. So anyway, yeah, you guys have heard all that. Some Ordinary Gamers is a guy who made this video about me saying that I was a hypocrite because I donation shamed Jeff Bezos, which didn't happen, which is a funny thing. It just didn't happen. And this video really upset me because people are always cutting clips from the podcast and making videos about it. But this is one of these times where he makes this assertion that I donation shamed Jeff Bezos, and then he goes on to expand about how that makes me all this like a hypocrite. And the whole premise of it is not only something that never happened, it's something that he never even cites or shows in his video, and yet everybody's taking it for granted, which to me was just so... I was like, wow, this is so fucked up. Like, people hate me this much that they're willing to just accept whatever is said about me without any evidence at all. And then, so I tweeted at him and I says, yo, just so you know, very politely, really, I said, just so you know, the comments I made about Jeff Bezos were like 15 days before he donated $100 million. So I couldn't have donation shamed him. And in response to those tweets, he made, and in response to our charity, he made a second video taking credit for my $100 donation, being like, ooh, I wonder why that happened. And further saying, you know, Ethan didn't donation shame Jeff Bezos, but it's hard to give him credit because he's always, this is to quote him, he's always punching around billionaires. I was like, really, dude? So it's my fault you got that wrong because I'm making fun of billionaires. You know, billionaires, the most disenfranchised group of people in America, by the way. Let's all stick our neck out for billionaires.
The smallest minority in the world, if you think about it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true, actually.
Yeah.
I love the whole premise of working people sticking their necks out for billionaires.
Well, it's also funny because we talk about it a lot in both aspects. We've also been on the side of saying that, you know, they should exist versus like we had this whole argument when people were saying billionaires shouldn't exist.
Exactly. You guys have argued with me. I'm way harsher on them than you guys.
Right.
You guys have, defended the idea of people having that much money before.
That is so frustrating because I couldn't possibly pack that detailed of an argument into the video.
Yeah, it's
so
too
minute.
much.
But you guys know that only a month ago I was talking about how Jeff Bezos created Amazon. My opinion is that, you know, obviously it's complicated, right?
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos is a guy who created Amazon that revolutionized the entire world. He's wealthy beyond imagination. And so I said, you know, the guy, he earned it, or so to speak, whatever you want to say. And so people were upset, first of all, that I was defending billionaires, and then, you know, a month later I'm on blast for donation shaming Jeff Bezos of all people, which I didn't do. Obviously, this whole concept is very complicated, and frankly, you guys, I'm out here, these aren't well formulated thoughts. I'm oftentimes talking off the cuff. That's the nature of a podcast, right? I'm just here kind of thinking and talking, and sometimes one thing I say might contradict another thing I say because maybe
it did make me think about this, like, because I think a lot of people used to see us only in our highly edited videos, because when we make our videos on H3, you know, we think about it ahead of time, we have some kind of preparation to what we're going to say, and then after recording there's a lot of editing. So if there was a weird take of something, you cut it out, you leave the good one. You know, if you didn't say something right, you cut that out. But I think for a lot of people who don't necessarily follow us all the time, seeing us like just as a hard transition go from those edited videos to this podcast that is so unedited. It's just 2 hours of us saying anything, just talking. We don't plan like what I'm saying right now. I didn't think about this point. I'm just making it right now.
Yeah.
I think for them it's a hard transition to see you this versus this, and I think that's a lot of times where those kind of videos come from. Like Muda's video.
Right. And then when you watch a lot of the criticism videos, their like central thesis is like they have to stop the podcast. People hate they hate that we make money from it. People hate that I'm saying things they disagree with. People don't like. I think a lot of it comes from political stuff too. I think that in a certain point in my career, I was making a lot of videos about social justice warriors and feminists and all this shit. And I think that I attracted quite a bit of more conservative-leaning audience there. The truth is, anyone that follows this podcast or knows, I'm definitely a Democrat, and I'm definitely extremely liberal in all of my personal doctrine, socially and economically. So like he made a comment in his video like, "Oh, because I said." We're doing this charity, and I intentionally made it under $500 so you don't have to report it to the IRS. Just cash in your pocket. That's the tax law. And he goes, "Ooh, don't tell your buddy Bernie Sanders," as if that's some kind of a slam on me that I'm like, "Oh, well, you like Bernie Sanders? Yeah, your buddy Bernie Sanders." It's like, so I think a lot of people see me as I'm trying to think of the best way to say this, but they see me as I'm not one of them. They thought I was one of them, and I'm not. Mm-hmm. I'm a Trojan horse, even. I'm worse. And so I think a lot of this stuff, it comes down to politics. They think that I'm maybe a hypocrite. They hate who they see me as here, which is not a feminist hating red pillar. I'm just not. I'm a coastal elite, bro. I'm a fucking rich coastal elitist. You know? That's who I am through and through. Totally. If I given the opportunity to sing in Imagine, I would. If Gal Gadot asked me to do a verse in Imagine, I would have totally done it. Let me just put it that way. Imagine all the people. Oh. I would have totally done it. That's what a coastal elite I am. Anyway, we're talking about that video. So I responded. I really went into into some kind of crazy video making frenzy. And we made our longest video ever, 37 minutes in response. And there was just so much to unpack. I mean, the guy, he takes every opportunity to paint me in the worst possible light. And everything he says is wrong. He goes, Ethan, Ethan, the owner of Teddy Fresh, why aren't you making N95 respirator masks? And then he goes, the death toll is getting pretty fucking high, Ethan. I'm like, dude, I'm not killing people. You're making it sound like I'm killing people. Yeah. I'm like, well, I cannot make N95 respirator masks. I can't just go do that. It's very complicated. There's only like a handful of manufacturers in the world that can do that. Like 3M. You know 3M? They're like huge. Like there's literally a handful of companies that can do that in the entire world. And just sit there and just throw all this shit at me, you know. It's very upsetting. And
he actually donation shamed us.
Yeah.
Which was very sad.
It did hurt my feelings. He goes, Ethan, I could do the same thing you do. Like you only donated $1,000 to Team Trees. But I'm not going to do that. But he did do that. And I didn't. So I talked about this at length in our video.
Yeah.
But it was, it felt so bad that like this video was going viral he made. And you read through the comments and everybody's just convinced that somehow I'm like the worst person that has ever lived. And I'm really...
I realized that just, hate is very chauvinistic. Because all the hate is only going towards you. And I got none of it. Nice.
I wish I could do with a little chauvinism.
Oh, really? Were you jealous, Eli? You weren't getting any of the...
I was a little bit jealous.
Well,
I was like, well, I don't know. What about me?
That is an interesting
I was
point.
here too. Teddy Fresh. Where am I in the conversation?
I think
I
you're
don't
right,
know.
and I'll tell you why I think people do that. They are always avoiding criticizing you because I'm the easy target, and people are more protective of you. So they know if they go after you, and this has happened before when people go after you, that people are not receptive to that criticism because they see me as the problematic person, and you're just trying to clean up my mess. But you're right.
They
Why?
care.
But you're right. Why aren't you, Hila, making
But that's a
N95 mess
little
sprayer
bit
masks?
chauvinistic way to look at it, don't you think? Like, I'm just here cleaning up your mess. Like
Women
some
are
dumb-dumb-
nurses.
Some
Women are
dumb wife,
nurses.
you know,
Yeah.
is just smiling like, hey, Ethan.
Yeah.
No, we plan everything together. Whatever Ethan is saying, I usually agree with him, you know, unless I say otherwise, which I normally will say on the podcast. You know, sometimes we disagree, but I just always find it funny. Like,
Not always. I will say, in your defense, like, for example, the whole PewDiePie fiasco with the N-word and the drunken rants and all that,
I
you were
wasn't
not
there,
here.
right?
You were actually there tending to your father who was dying
Yeah.
to make things worse. So
Yes.
it's not always your fault.
Not
but,
always.
But anyway, so that was happening. And I honestly, during that whole week, I had such tension and anxiety. I felt like I was going to puke all the time because I was so upset about it.
Can you
Close
mute
this?
your
Yeah.
laptop, Ethan? Like,
Mother fricker. Mother frickin' crap and a frick.
Also, the timing was very annoying because we were planning a donation and we have been thinking about it for a long time. We weren't sure what we wanted to do. Like, you guys who watch the podcast know that we have done those charity streams a few times, and that was initially our first idea, but it didn't feel the same. Like, we just wanted it to go directly to people and not to some charity fund that, you know.
It's
Was it the Yang philosophy? I actually
Yes.
was curious.
Yes.
his
It was
whole,
very much inspired by Yang.
Well,
Definitely.
it's the whole atmosphere right now is like government sending people checks. People are talking about UBI, so it's very much inspired by the movement of the time.
right.
And yeah, you know, it's much easier just to give money to a.
And we never
To a
donated
charity,
this
yeah.
much. We knew we wanted to do something big, so
Look,
we
I
kind of
know-
wanted to think about it, you know. And
I know
weren't
you
sure.
guys think we're rich. I know everyone thinks we're rich and like, and okay, we're rich. $100,000 is a fucking lot of money. That hurts. I want $100,000 back in my bank account. Trust me.
No, but it doesn't hurt. It feels good to give.
Isn't it better if it hurts? Isn't it more? Isn't it more admirable if it's painful every time? Right? Because if it feels good, then you're like, hey, everybody take my money. I'm feeling happy. It hurts me every time I give that money out. And that's what makes it beautiful.
It's a sacrifice.
I guess it
It's
depends.
no, it doesn't hurt. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But it's a lot of money
No,
is
it's
my
fine.
point.
No,
it's
it's
a lot of
fine.
money.
Yeah.
It's $100,000 fucking dollars. It's a lot of bubble gum.
Just get it real.
Thank you, Zach. He did make an apology video. I will say, after we made ours, I'll open it up. We can watch a bit of it. But he basically made a sincere apology.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Yo, I was wrong. I'm removing both my videos." And straight up apologizing to Ethan Yo. So there you have
And
it.
I owe an apology, 100%. Now, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the off-the-cuff video quality out there. It's an apology that I have to pretty much get out 100%. Because I kind of want to make this video before sort of like any other, 100 like mini channels picked this shit up and covered it. Because the reality of it is I do owe an apology, and the last thing I want to see is people fight for me when I'm clearly in the wrong. Now, I made 2 videos. One of them was the hypocrisy of Ethan Klein.
That's it. I mean, clearly a heartfelt, sincere
Yeah.
apology.
I appreciated it. And
I won't say anything. I mean, you know what? The problem with this guy for me is that he actually seems like a decent guy. He seems like a dude I would like.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's funny. There's so many comments on your response video to him saying this is really hard to see because I genuinely like both of these guys, but obviously he's in the wrong here. But it does seem like there's quite a bit of overlap between the audiences.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it is unfortunate that it's not like
that's
beefing
how we
with
met.
Logan Paul or something where there's almost no overlap between the audience bases.
the video he made about me kind of reminds me of when I made. He reminds me of myself. You know, I've made that same mistake that he has, where I, like, for example, looking back at like the Wall Street Journal, where I kind of made a video too hastily, got it wrong, and then had to retract. And it's like the first video is so explosive and it's so compelling, but it's wrong, you know? And so I've done this. That's kind of where I have a level of empathy for him. I've done this myself. So that's it. I mean, I really got no beef with this guy. I responded, he apologized, and that's it. It's a simple matter. Now, that's it. There's really nothing else to say about the guy. I appreciate it. So that was that. You know, the beef is squashed, clearly. The drama is over with him. But isn't it so, what do you think about the fact that the video we made has 65,000 dislikes? I mean, it has 307,000 likes at this moment. But there's still 65,000 people who watched a video where I am clearly materially defending myself.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what to think about it. Because
I don't know.
that's a lot of people.
People don't like H3. You know, the first hour we put it up, it had like 50% dislike. Like, his fans were ready. They were on the trigger. And I was like, what is going on, man? I thought I was in Bizarro World.